really want to start with a really sincere thank you for your work.
Thank you.
I love your work. I love how you champion IMAX and the large screen format. I just really want to thank you because I know how hard it is to make movies.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
I'm so curious. I saw pictures of the IMAX platter and Oppenheimer, and it seems very close to the edge. And I'm curious if the actual runtime of the film was dictated at all by the platter of IMAX.
Well, there's a relationship, but no, the dictating went the other way. And the thing we've done with the platter over the years, because when I started working with IMAX film, it was, okay, 2.5 hours, that's it. And then we got to Interstellar, which went up to 2:47. And what they were able to do for me is engineer the platters a little bit wider so that it has an extra rim. And that got a little wider and a little wider over the years. And then on this, I went to them and said, okay, I've got a 180-page script. That's a 3-hour movie on the nose. Can it be done? They looked at it, they looked at the platters, and they came to the conclusion that it could just be done. And they're telling me this is the absolute limit because now the arm that holds the platter, we're right up against it. So this I think is finally the outer limit of running time for an IMAX film print.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's amazing. So I'm fascinated by the editing process because that's where movies come together. And I'm curious, which of your films changed the most in the editing room in ways you didn't expect going in?
That's a really hard one to answer because I'm a writer-director. And so I do write, whether I co-write or I write by myself, that final draft of the script, I very much have an editing hat on already. And so structurally, the films tend to be fairly disciplined, I would say. But the discoveries you make in editing are complex and multivariate, and things transform over time. The approach Jen Lane, my editor, and myself take is to view the film as a whole. And so we're watching it every week. We're putting it up, usually inviting 1 or 2 people in who don't know anything about the script to watch it with us, see it through their eyes. And every film presents unique challenges. And I think in the case of Oppenheimer, it was very much being guided by the balance between the color sequences where we're trying to see everything from his point of view, be in his head, see through his eyes, and then the black and white sequences, which are much more Robert Downey Jr.'s point of view. Louis Strauss is the character he's playing. And trying to balance the subjective with the objective and give sufficient momentum to those two timelines that there's a feeling of confluence at the end. But every film's different. Every film has its unique challenges. And some films are improved in the edit suite through tightening and speeding things up a lot. And that's very often our process. Other films, Interstellar was one where you couldn't just keep squeezing it. It wouldn't help the pacing. You actually needed to let things breathe. You needed to let the sights and sounds you were experiencing with the audience breathe a bit. Hence the bigger IMAX platter.
One of the things that I can't believe you did was, are there any CGI shots in this movie?
There are no CGI shots in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, first of all, amazing. Yeah. And second of all, the thing that I was blown away by was the way you shot the explosions using IMAX cameras, because how did you pull that off?
Well, one of the first people I showed the script to was my visual effects supervisor, Andrew Jackson. And I said to him, and he's very well versed in CG, but he's also very well versed in practical effects and understands the value of that. And I showed it to him very early on, and I said, okay, what we need in this film is a thread between the interior process of Oppenheimer, his imagining, his visualizing of atoms, molecules, those interactions, those energy waves. We need a thread that runs from that right through to the ultimate expression of their destructive power when that force is unleashed. It has to live in the same family. And I think computer graphics, they're very versatile. They can do all kinds of things, but they tend to feel a bit safe. That's why they're difficult to use in horror movies. Animation tends to feel a little safe for the audience. The Trinity test ultimately, but also these early imaginings of Oppenheimer visualizing the quantum realm, they had to be threatening in some way. They had to have the bite of real world imagery. The Trinity test, for those who were there, was the most beautiful and terrifying thing simultaneously. And that's where we were headed with this film. And so he spent many months working on extremely small things and extremely large things in combination with Scott Fisher, a visual special effects supervisor who is second to none in the world with blowing things up on a vast scale. And so it was really a combination of scales. And ultimately, that spoke to the whole of the film, because quantum physics and the expression of quantum physics through nuclear weapons is really about the incredible disparity of scales. The laws of quantum physics work at this, tiny, tiny level, and then they find expression out in the stars and black holes and supernova and all the rest. So we're really trying to embrace both ends of this scale. And Andrew's methodology and how he achieved those things truly did embrace both ends.
And that don't need to stop. I'm just going to say, sir, your film is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I recommend to everyone watching to see it in IMAX 70 millimeter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.